Councillor Lisa Robinson here. I'm going to speak very plainly today because you, the people, deserve the truth, and because too much has already been buried. This is about the COVID vaccine, the shot that we were told was safe, the shot that we were told was safe and effective, the shot we were told would stop COVID, and the shot we were told would protect others. Every major news outlet said it, and governments repeated it, all at the same time using the exact same words. Safe and effective. COVID stops with you. You won't get it. And you will not transmit it. Every single one of those claims turned out to be false. It didn't stop transmission. It didn't stop infection. And most people who took it still got COVID. And notice something important. They don't even say those claims anymore. The messaging has changed because the truth caught up. Now let's talk about the power and the hypocrisy, because people lived under rules that the powerful did not follow. Right here in Pickering, residents were told, stay home, don't travel, keep 6 feet apart. And they shut down our playgrounds. People lost their jobs, they lost their businesses, they lost their ability to travel, they lost their place in society. You couldn't even run in a by-election unless you were up to date on your shots. And while residents were complying, members of Pickering Council traveled anyways.
This makes me feel angry, mad, upset.
Both Kevin Ash and Bill McLean say they left the country to deal with personal matters. They say they were transparent about the trips, but some of their constituents say that isn't enough.
It's very unfortunate that a couple of our paid elected officials think that they have a higher standard than the rest of us.
Once you lose that trust, you've lost respect. When you lose respect, you lose your chance to lead.
And they didn't apologize out of principle when they got caught. It wasn't just municipal politicians either. Across Ontario, MPs were caught traveling, and some stepped down from leadership roles after public outcry forced them to do so. Even right here, a regional councillor at the time stepped down from the role of deputy mayor and as chair of the police services board, and he is now our mayor. And he didn't do that because he chose accountability. He did it because the people demanded it. And that's the truth. I also want to talk about Orchard Villa, where nearly 80 seniors died in that long-term care home here in Pickering. Alone, isolated from family, in conditions so severe that the Canadian Armed Forces had to be sent in. The military documented neglect, filth, dehydration, and suffering. So while families were locked out and seniors were dying alone, our politicians were traveling. Never forget that. And here's the part that everyone needs to understand right now. This month, not years ago, this month, December of 2025, FDA scientists themselves have raised concerns serious enough that a black box warning was being discussed. That is the highest safety warning in medicine, reserved for risks of serious injuries or death. That information reached the public recently. Media began reporting it, and then within days, higher ups stepped in and they shut it down. No warning, no pause, no explanation. When the FDA scientists raise red flags and leadership stops it after public exposure, that's not science, that's interference. And you want to talk about consent? Because what happened was not consent. There was no full ingredient list given to the public, not to the nurses. People were injected with a pharmaceutical product under emergency authorization, with manufacturers shielded from liability. And at the very same time, the definition of vaccine was changed. The original definition of a vaccine focused on immunity and prevention. The new definition lowered the standard to stimulating a response. They're not the same things. The definition changed because the product no longer met the original standard of vaccines creating immunity and protection. And then even while all of this was happening, other treatments were suddenly dismissed or restricted. Hydrochloroquine, ivermectin, not because they disappeared, but because under emergency rules, you cannot authorize an emergency product if other effective treatments exist. They didn't bother to tell you that, did they? But yet in other countries around the world, ivermectin was still being sold openly, even over the counter in places like Mexico, available in everyday shops. Meanwhile, here at home, doctors were silenced, nurses were fired, and hundreds of medical professionals lost their careers for questioning or treating patients. That's not science. That's control. And now when we look at the aftermath, athletes collapsing on fields, young people dying suddenly, children suffering strokes and heart attacks. Just the other day in Durham, a sign on one of the sides of our buses read, "Children have strokes too." Not alarm, not investigation. And do you think that was a coincidence that they opened up new wings in Children's Hospital dedicated to children all of a sudden having heart attacks? Normalization. They're normalizing children having strokes and heart attacks. You know, I've lost friends after they took this shot. I've watched a child come home from school and find his healthy father dead on the kitchen floor. And instead of stopping, instead of demanding answers, the government told us to accept it, and there was no need for autopsies. History warns us about moments like this, when fear overrides ethics, when authority replaces consent, when people are divided into compliant and unacceptable. Our own Prime Minister told us, do we tolerate these types of people? Well, that's why the world created the Nuremberg Code, because we learned the hard way what happens when medical experiments are imposed on populations. And this wouldn't be the first time authorities got it wrong. We were once told that thalidomide was safe for pregnant women. Trust them, that it was science-based. Thousands of babies paid the price. Blind trust is not virtue, and questioning is not dangerous. And now here we are. Today, they're still pushing the vaccine. Radio ads are still saying, go get it. But notice what they're not saying anymore. They won't say it stops the transmission. They won't say it prevents infection, and they won't say it's safe and effective. And now behind closed doors, they're debating a black box warning. That contradiction alone should stop everyone. So I'm asking you to do one thing. Just pause. Ask questions. Look at what they promised and what they won't say now. Because when the story changes this much, it's not because the public was wrong. It's because the truth caught up. And lives depend on people paying attention. I am Counselor Lisa Robinson, the People's Counselor, and I will never whisper the truth to protect a lie. If you believe real power belongs to the people, follow me, subscribe, and share this message. Until next time, stand strong, stay fierce, and God bless.